I'm gonna do another episode of this. I'm gonna see what all's going on in tabletop RPG land. We're going to check out our good buddies over at the Christian D&D community, and uh, probably check out Basic Fantasy RPG as well and see what's going on. Just woke up a little bit ago. I normally don't record on nights like this. Normally, normally I have a game tonight. That didn't happen. One of our fellas, his dad flew in, so we're going to so like no big deal. Family's important, so. So it looks like that's going. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Hey all. I'm trying to come up with ideas for a campaign for fellow Christians that are resistant to the game because of the satanic panic and influences. Da, da, da. What I'm thinking is a post-rapture setting where the faithful are being persecuted and the world is full of things that have never been seen before. The party would be a group that is trying to spread the word, protect the faith, battle and forces the enemy. Ideas, thoughts. Uh, people talk about um, people bring up like different rules, because it doesn't it doesn't seem that D&D uh, is the best rule set for them to run this kind of style. Uh, so a little strange. It seems like they're trying to look for a Left Behind style of setting, and they're what they use D&D rules, and D&D rules don't exactly lend themselves to very well, to a lot of different things. Like I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to take 5e and put them in this one weird thing. So some guys posting some other stuff besides 5e for once. That's I'm glad about that. See here. Looks like they're having a setup for D&D table, and it looks like they're going to be recording it. More power to them. But I hate watching live plays. Like the only time I really watch any kind of form of live play is to see how somebody has ruled something that I think might be a little vague. Like, oh, okay. So, no. Sorry. I hope it goes well for you, though. I forgot about self promotion Wednesday. It says that Mr. Rogers talked about D&D. Did Mr. Rogers talk about D&D? Mm, there's something about it that I don't quite doesn't quite jive with me. Seems like a little bit anachronistic, like somebody took something and then just stuck his name on it. Because, you know, had D&D class in real life, what would it be and why? I really don't know. I'm not sure what class I would be in real life. Oh, this one. This was so weird. Uh, it was Saturday Fight Night, so this was some weeks back. Which do you prefer? Roleplay first, rules second style, or rules heavy minimal role playing style? And go. And I've never been in a situation like that in any edition, no matter what. I've never seen that. You can have a rules heavy focus for that much role play. So I didn't vote. Um, because I've never seen, and I've never seen. I don't know what he's talking about. Da, da, da. Oh yeah, we were talking about the level zero game. Um, like starting off with level zero, uh, starting off with 5e, uh, in 5e, and like it's an idea that they quite obviously stole from Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is you know a crazy game in and of itself, very gonzo kind of thing. And I said, yeah, I found a neat BFRPG conversion of DCC's Funnel a while back. I've been playtesting it solo to see if this, like, how this works in terms of whether or not I feel like pushing this on players eventually. So, I've got a like from somebody. Hello. I don't see you on the screen yet. There we go. We got a viewer. That took a little bit. So yeah, I did find a basic fantasy RPG version of Dungeon Crawl Classics Funnel. I'm kind of biddling boo about it. Like it's interesting in the fact that like get I'm kind of excuse me because it requires you to roll so many characters per player. Like it wants you to have like copper pieces and stuff like that. Excuse me, for like weapons and whatnot. Um, I just end up choosing one weapon and that's it. So that's like because the copper essentially doesn't mean anything. Because they're probably going to die anyway. So whatever they find in the randomly generated dungeon that I'm doing, that's what they find. And unfortunately, they've got Hranovan, stuck in the bottom of a pit trap, and they can't get him out. He's going to die very soon. Well, that's it for the Christian D&D group. Let's check out basic. Oh yeah. So, DM Tales released a video on the first look at 4th edition. I have not watched it yet. Although DM Tales' channel is actually one of the first that actually introduced Basic Fantasy RPG to me. Like, it was one of the first channels that I ever heard about Basic Fantasy from, along with uh, Rob from Rob's Game Group, whose channel name is like Adventures with Dice now. So I'm going to eventually buy it, but like most of my videos are going to focus around the 3rd revision. So they're going to release the printed edition of 4th edition in a little while. I think Mr. Common says scheduled release. Well, okay, now let me rephrase that. So on March the 20th, the release number 112, which is the 112th revision, essentially, of the 4th edition, was, I think, finalized. This is planned to be the release candidate for the print copy. So I'd say they'll probably go through it like a couple more times, make sure that everything is within printable condition. Like, they're not going to be releasing something with like a lot of typographical errors and stuff like that, and then letting it go. So finally, so we finally had somebody post real questions, in that somebody asked if you were to drop the whole Morgansport module, the town, the fortress, the nameless dungeon, and all of it into pre-world Flanaeus, the world of Greyhawk, where would you put it? And I gave my answer to that question. Now, something that a lot of you folks probably haven't realized is I've never played in Greyhawk, so I couldn't tell you what everything is named, and I can't even tell from this map because it's so stinking, the font is so stinking blurry, so I couldn't tell you. I put it in between a forest and a lake, and I said, there you go, that's where you put everything. Add a forest to the north and you'll be golden. So we have, what do we have going on here? Somebody put up someone on the You Might Be a Heretic group put up a very interesting poll. My favorite theologian is Andy Stanley, Jory Micah, Rob Bell, Bill Johnson, Steven Anderson, Oprah, Dr. Phil, the Pope, or Noah Clinhalls. Ken Halls, I think. Chin Halls? I don't know. That's the one name I haven't heard of. So, obviously, all heretics. So, okay. So, I'm going to probably address the elephant in the room a little bit. So, um, mostly since I released my Christian ethics video, and put it out there and pretty much took away all the ambiguity and vagaries out of my beliefs. That has been mostly positively received. The only thing that I saw that it did was I lost a couple subscribers. Oh well. Somebody asked me, it was in one of my Discord channels. Somebody asked me why I put it out there, and it was mostly because, okay, give a little context. I watched a video about RPG Elite, who, excuse me, told me why he wouldn't hide his beliefs, and I thought to myself, even though I have a secondary channel, I feel like I can represent my beliefs on my main channel and do so without hiding it. And so for the longest time, I had kept it fairly ambiguous and vague on what I believed on a lot of things. And I finally kind of took that plunge. I was actually talking to Retro DM Ray about that. So I've got him on Facebook. So like I was messaging him about it. I was like, I feel like I need that kick to get over, like I feel like I need to put more Christian stuff on my channel and stuff like that. So, which Ray's like, well, why not do both channels? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, true. The only weakness on my other channel is because where it doesn't have as many subscribers, I can't go live. I can't do posts, but I can do videos still. And typically what I planned on doing was like making whatever ended up on that channel might end up on this channel and vice versa. So I had a couple of people ask me, what the purpose of it was. And it was just, just me getting my beliefs out there. We live in a world where everybody else can share their beliefs. Why can't I? Most people don't have a problem with my beliefs. Most people generally kind of keep calm and carry on, so to speak. So, and I promised Ray I would eventually review that Bible for him that I told him about, and that I've got that's actually become my favorite, and I will eventually do that, but for the time being. So yeah, the because some of my beliefs are more. Hey man, I do hear you. You can always let's see here. I just missed Ray's response. I just seen him pop on, and I missed it. You tell. Let's go to Ray's. Let's go to Ray's comment because it disappeared before I could read it all. Come on, load up, please. Okay. Load up, please. Please. There we go. Unmute. So we'll mute that so that we don't have to see. Hey man, I do hear you, and you can always link back to the other channel anytime you want. What are we discussing here? This is just kind of like my. I'm really not discussing anything mostly tonight. I went through the Christian D&D stuff. Wasn't really a whole lot of bites. Really, not really much interest. I think the first one I talked about was somebody who's kind of obviously looking for a. They're trying to do a Left Behind style of game, but they're asking for D&D rules for it, and I don't think that's the right rules to use for a setting like that. I think we talked about the guy who, for whatever weird reason, made this weird false dichotomy between a rules heavy game and a RP heavy game, as if they're mutually exclusive. I talked about that. There wasn't a whole lot that I could see on that Facebook. Then I went to Basic Fantasy RPG. I talked about Chris Gonerman's plans on the 4th edition print. Brought up DM Tales, who was a channel that actually kind of one of the first channels that exposed me to it. Oh, cool. Yes, I'm waiting for that Bible review. I would say Left Behind ain't really worth talking about anyway. Well, what it is that they're wanting a Left Behind style of setting. Like, you know what I mean? Not necessarily Left Behind, but like they're wanting a post rapture world to play in. And hey, you know what? Since we're talking about my beliefs anyway, this is something that I brought up before. I'm an amillennialist. I don't believe in the rapture, not in the way that a lot of people do. So I didn't interact with that because I didn't want to come off as like snarky and jerky, because I don't believe in a rapture happening. The church gets raptured, then like the world goes through like a 7-year tribulation under the Antichrist, and then like I don't buy into that. I used to believe that once upon a time, but I don't anymore. Eschatology gets sticky to talk about. I don't like doing it. So no, I don't normally. Not D&D's not really the rule set you want to do for that. So, but yeah, like, so the reason for that video, gotcha. Mutant Year Zero would be a better system for that anyway. Yes, I wouldn't argue with you on that anyways, as we discussed really. Yeah, that like, because somebody brought up Star Wars, the Star Wars RPG might be a better alternative to what they might be looking for. So yeah, like my Christian ethics video was mostly positively received. The only thing that happened was I lost a couple of subscribers. That's really the only thing that happened. By and large, everybody seemed to like it. I mean, I've got 5 likes on it anyway, so one of the funniest things that I got though from that was, and I don't know if they've deleted the comment or if they've hidden it because they didn't think I could see it. Like I was able to see it for a bit, and I was going to type up a response, and I couldn't. Probably couldn't rinse anyway. No offense to them. I mean, true. I might not be the channel for you if you end up having that big of a problem with my beliefs, but they ended up saying something of the fact that Christians are going down, atheism is going up, and I can prove how that's demonstrably incorrect. And I want to thank my buddy Steven for this because he was having a debate with an anti-natalist, and he did a very excellent job, I must say. did a very excellent job. Bang up job. I'm not kidding you when I say that. Uh, Let me trace it down real quick though. Pardon me. Whew. I have a little bit of indigestion. I typically have that when I wake up. I haven't been awake very long. Normally, I have a game tonight, but like our one of our players ended up having his dad come in, fly in, and be with your dad. They're not here forever, so I don't think you need me to tell you that. But yeah. So let me. Um, Okay, so I saw racist. In your face marketplace Christianity is down, yes indeed though. And so is maybe those who are outwardly believers that practice. That's the key word right there, right? Practice. Right? So like how many non-practicing nominal quote Christians are out there, right? So just I know we're going to get drug into a discussion on this, but I mean it's one worth having. Um, I've made the comment that we are a people that are easily fleeced because we'll accept any celebrity at face value without really analyzing. So, like, all we need to see is a tattoo of Philippians. What is it? 4:13. Practice don't make perfect. It means proof. That's right. You shall know them by the fruits. Right. So, like, you don't gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles in Matthew 7, right? So, like, I think it's Philippians 4:13. I'm terrible when it comes to remembering Bible verses, but I do have. Let me go to. I have a Bible app on my computer here, and I can literally just go to it. Uh, Go down. Go down. Don't do that. Please don't. Okay. I sound like a goofball. I know I do. And yeah, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Like, um, uh, and the thing is, like, we will accept anybody at face value that has that tattooed on them or has it worn on a T-shirt, but they'll never talk about sanctification. They won't talk about holy living. They won't talk about. Yeah, but we'll accept them as a brother in Christ, even though they've done everything contradictory to what a brother in Christ is. Now, as you've pointed out, Ray, works don't save, but it is proof, meaning that the second that if you are faithful, you can do all the works you want. But that's the key thing: faith first. You have to be faithful and regenerate, and this, that, and everything else. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people answer altar calls at all these churches, and they've just not, like, they think they've got it, and they just, good old Leonard taught this very masterfully and hardcore. Yes, Leonard Ravenhill. Oh my goodness. That's one of my favorite guys to listen to. So, yeah, people take that out of context. It's probably the second most taken out of context verse besides Matthew 7:1. Even though the Bible tells us to judge righteous judgment and that we will judge angels. So, I got into a debate with a guy on that. But that's neither here nor there right now. So I'm going to go to my buddy Steven's thing, because he got dragged into this whole thing. So he had somebody pretty much say to that Christians were going down and atheists were going up. And I want to say that in some respects, that's true in a short term kind of thing. Stephen says, you're certainly welcome to believe that. I'm just pointing out that given current demographic fertility trends, within a couple centuries, Christians and Muslims will be the only populations remaining. Everyone else will have died out within 10 to 20 generations at reproduction levels below replacement rate. So even if we're quote debunked, it will scarcely matter because we'll be the only ones here. So like he's pointing out that typically atheistic couples will not have children, or they will abort their children that they're getting ready to have. And meanwhile, Christians, broadly speaking, and Muslims, broadly speaking, were very populous. And so, like, we happen to hold to worldviews in which children are a heritage, right? Not a curse, but a blessing, a heritage. And, oh, buddy, I could go off all and on about how Deuteronomy talks about that as our heritage. And so we can do that with our children. You know, us believers can do that with our children. Jews is another, like, I think Stephen should have brought up Jews as well, because Jews are a pretty populous bunch, along with the Christians and the Muslims. And then, of course, this is where he got down to, no, atheistic populations are not growing. Quite the opposite in terms of the share of world population. Atheists are dying out faster than just about any other religion. Atheism is only growing in very few countries with low or negative fertility rates, which is pretty much a guarantee of demographic oblivion. He posts a link. The link is pewresearch.org. Why people with no religion are projected to decline as a share of the world's population. I list Jeremiah 29:11 and Matthew 18:20. Stephen seems to be a fighter in that discussion. Where is that? This is in. Okay, so Stephen's my buddy. I've been a friend of Stephen's for a long time. Stephen is. I think I first met him in the Reformed Libertarian group. This particular link is to he's on an anti-natalist page on Facebook. So this is public if you want to see it. And it is the anti-natalist page on Facebook is called Stop Having Kids, and it's on a meme. And it says, it's that meme that says, we want grandkids, and the son who's like dressed up in a hoodie and a beanie says, the best I can do is not killing myself. And I'll give that link to Ray, actually. So Ray can look at that and he can follow along if he wants to. I'll talk about this. Let me find you, Ray. You should be pretty close to the top. I had a couple of new friend requests for the past week, which is very odd to me because I very rarely get friend requests anymore. Which it's not like I actually. So just check out the thread there, Ray, and you'll be able to follow along. So I want to go to this Pew Research, right? Thanks. There you go. For years, the percentage of Americans who do not identify with any religion has been rising, a trend similar to what has been happening in much of Europe, including the United Kingdom. Despite this, in coming decades, the global share of religiously unaffiliated people is expected to fall, according to Pew Research Center's new study on the future of world religions. While the unaffiliated are projected to increase by more than 35 million, their share of the global population is projected to decrease as a result of the faster growth in world population by 2060. So it's got this little bar graph here. So, like, it shows like this very dark line and then like this very light line of the world population. And the unaffiliated are the dark line. So, yeah, like their percentage is expected to fall. Like, they're they're expecting to be in the minority. They're not going to see no growth. To be clear, the total number of religiously unaffiliated people, which includes atheists, agnostics, and those who do not identify with any religion in particular, are expected to rise in absolute terms from 1.17 billion in 2015 to 1.2 billion in 2060. That's not a lot. That's less than a tenth of a percent, or less than a tenth of a percent. That's not a percent. Less than a tenth of a billion. So it's like not expected to grow very much at all. This growth is projected to occur at the same time that other religious groups and global populations overall are growing even faster. Why? Because like when you have a worldview in which children are evil and they're not beneficial and they're a burden, then like obviously your worldview will support anything that either kills or halts the reproduction of children. Those of us that I brought up, this point was the one that I thought people were going to. If I had to guess what caused the unsubscribers, it was when I said I believe abortion is murder in my Christian ethics video, and so I'll stand by that here. You got a group of people who despise that. Yeah, I despise it. Muslims despise it. Like it's not. it's it's not what we want. We view our children as a heritage, you don't get a lot of victories in this world. Having offspring is one of those very few victories that you get. So if you have a worldview that says children are evil and they're a burden and blah 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 blah, well then obviously you are not going to pass on. You have to rely on a lot of conjecture to say that Christianity is falling and atheism is rising. Pew is good and so is Lifeway, but poll numbers are usually fairly low enough to maybe make their research a little skewed. I don't know others that are better though without bias. Totally agree on abortion. It's not a right to murder. That's right. So, and I do agree. Some of these polls can be a little strange. It's just like I remember one of the demographics was, and it wasn't Pew, it was somebody else, and it was in the last election cycle for the presidential race, and the question was, how important is a candidate's religion to you? And most people, and it kind of went by generation. Like, so you had that generation that was born between, like, you have very few that are born between 1920 and 1939 left. Yeah, but you have more, not quite as much, but because they're starting to get on too. Those that were born between 1940 and hold on here, 1940 and 1959, and then 1960 to 1979. My group, which is the 1980 to 1999 group, I think they said that 47% claimed a religious an organized religious affiliation at all, and even less than that is Christian. So, and if you're a preacher, you can make a case that less than that is actually truly saved. But that's a discussion for another day. So I could go on and on and on. So Stephen, like, because Stephen is my buddy Stephen, he's like very much into like polls and statistics and stuff like that. He actually, I remember one time, one of the funniest things was he ended up, and he meant it as a joke, and I had to tell this story because it was actually funny, that he believes that there should be a National Pizza Boy Day. Because when you take a look at a lot of statistics, one of the most dangerous jobs in the country is being a pizza delivery guy. And which is true. It's one of the more dangerous jobs. You got, especially if you live in a very urbanized area. Um, so you got a guy that's probably, and because companies don't allow you to carry a firearm on you, uh, as you go into like pretty rough territory, chances of you getting mugged, robbed, or killed go up. They skyrocket, but they don't allow it because of insurance reasons, and we can understand that. Um, my dad, for example, he works the railroad. He's not allowed to have a gun, even though he's a concealed carry license owner. Um, he's not allowed to have a gun in his truck. He has a company truck that he has to drive, um, which is different from me. I can travel with my gun in my car if I want to because I don't drive for a company. My car is my own private vehicle. Uh, but Kentucky state law, and Kentucky's the only state that has this law, by the way. Um, it has to be locked up in the vehicle. Like the vehicle has to be locked. Nobody can get to it because a it was either UPS or FedEx. There was a FedEx driver or a UPS driver that was fired in Kentucky for having a firearm in his UPS or FedEx truck. And because it was a company owned truck, so Kentucky state lawmakers had point out that an employer cannot fire an employee for having a firearm in their vehicle as long as the vehicle is a privately owned vehicle, not owned by the company, and the vehicle has been locked up. So it's one of those things where it's probably not a good idea, though, if you're a fellow Kentuckian like me, probably not a good idea to tell people you have a gun in your car because it's depending on the context, they're going to take that the wrong way. So, um, I don't know. You guys have watched my. I finally like the 5 minute combat. Is it realistic video that finally uploaded, and I actually had a reaction video to the movie that I was talking about uploaded, but only recorded like 1 minute of it. So, well, yes, probably. So, like, I actually had, for whatever reason, it only recorded 1 minute of me reacting to an 8 minute long thing, which I had 18 minutes of material there, which, but my computer ended up not liking multitasking like that anyway. So, it's one thing to like scroll and here and there and like, okay, yeah, here's what I'm talking about, this, that, and everything else. It's another thing to have video playing while you're recording a video. For whatever, my computer doesn't like doing that. And so I'm going to figure out how I can make that more efficient. For whatever reason, I know I've been recommended OBS Studio. I cannot get it to work on my laptop. I don't know why. So I'm looking into that because I would love to use it. I would especially love to use it for my streams. I cannot use Spodcastify for streams. Not that I've been able to find anyway. I've played around with it a little bit since I've downloaded it, but I can't seem to get it work for streams. So hopefully I'll be able to figure something out because I dislike not having something on the screen because like I feel like people ought to be able to follow along. But I would probably cut out the Facebook stuff though because private people not consenting to having their name shown, and I won't do that. I refuse to do that. It's just like, okay, I gave Ray the link to the meme in which Steven, my buddy, is like talking about stuff. That's different because Steven is doing it in a very public forum. So that it's almost like if you interact in a public way, that's kind of like consent in and of itself. So, and I also have Ray on Facebook, but like, obviously I wouldn't post his real name without his consent first. I know that because I haven't actually officially given my real name on this channel. So even though you could probably find me pretty easily by going to, especially Basic Fantasy RPG, which is a public group, you could probably, yeah, buddy, you could probably find me fairly easy just by going to the Basic Fantasy RPG Facebook group because it's public. And you could probably, through different degrees of um, the process of elimination, you could probably figure out who I am by that. Plus, my Facebook icon is actually my YouTube icon now, which my new YouTube banner, that one was done by my wife. My wife did that one. The Kentucky Rex with the dice. My wife did that one for me because she thought it would look cooler on my channel, and actually, I agree with her. It looks pretty sweet to see it. Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Somebody asked me about the Little Devil Man, and I'll point that out. The Little Devil Man is just a mascot. I was coming up with, at the time, the Mortal Coil campaign, which is what I've got on my Discord. And now it's actually just become the Discord channel because it's not as deadly anymore. Or we haven't had a death in a long time. We had a death at session 1, and we haven't had any deaths since. We had a TPK at session 1. So like he's supposed to be like a Grim Reaper, but I wanted him to look menacing, and I'm no artist, by the way. So like he had the horns and he's got the triangle with a 1. It's supposed to be a nat 1. And the reason it's a triangle is because on a 20-sided dice, the face where the number is a triangle. So that's what I did. As you can plainly see, actually, because my wife put a couple of D20s in that banner. So yeah, and he's got one eye thing, like it's just kind of like supposed to be like this weird, strange, rotting corpse kind of Grim Reaper kind of dude, and it was just something simplistic and to catch the eye. It's nothing. There's nothing nefarious or sinister about it. It's just kind of like Iron Maiden having Eddie as a mascot, right? So like, because it's just a cool visual. Like it's just something they put on their album covers and put in their concerts. A guy in a suit. We need to talk about Forbidden Lands if you want Deadly Dude. It'd be pretty harsh. You want creepy stuff. That's in many ways. I need to learn more about Forbidden Lands. Actually, I don't know a whole lot about Forbidden Lands. Actually, I need to watch Ray's stuff on Forbidden Lands because obviously he's the guy to go to on that. So I don't know. It's just kind of, but yeah, like I've been watching a lot of this other stuff and been watching. I've been trying to keep up with the Shadow Dark stuff, especially with Ray's channel because Ray posts pretty frequently on it. Because that one's interesting too to me. But I'm a fan of anything with like a Cthulhu-esque kind of aesthetic to it. So like if it's got this weird creepy vibe with like tendrils and like darkness and like orifices that sprout and then disappear, like I get like that kind of that makes me feel cool. I like that stuff. But I believe I'm going to get off here. I think I'm done for the evening. Another deadly, but it does have heal up overnight. I removed that nonsense because it's like this weird amalgamation of like modern rules with classic rules. I know that much. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get off. I'll catch you guys later. I will try to do another video on the magical research because that's not finished. I had 30 minutes and that was it. And sadly, I didn't have much more to talk about. But in any case, take care. God bless. See you on the other side, guys. Thank you for watching. And to those of you that have stuck with me since the beginning, thank you for sticking with me. So, God bless, fellas.